So, we have about 2 days left of the stories of Pippi Longstocking. We've heard all about her tales, meeting the ghost, tackling the buggabilly bobby bullies, throwing them on a tree, getting the pikey policeman all wet and throwing him on a tree twice, the time that she met Ladybug and they had a fight, but then they made friends and were friends forever. And now, another story in the Pippi Longstocking story thingy. Okay, now you two little girls are in the bedroom trying to get to sleep, and the lights are off, right? And it's all dark, right? And you should be closing your eyes, right? And listening to my voice, telling you the story of Pippi Longstocking. And in your mind there should be pictures about what's happening and what's going on. And as you close your eyes and think about the story, you're going to drift off to sleep. And as the pictures in your mind are going all around, when you fall asleep, they're going to turn into your dreams. And then the story is yours, because you'll finish listening to Daddy's voice and Daddy will stop telling the story, but the story will continue in your mind. And then you can maybe try and choose what happens next. And you can take the story all the way till the morning, and you can wake up, and maybe, just maybe, if you remember what happened in your story, you can tell me, or you can let me know. Okay? Now, this is the story about Pippi Longstocking, who was quite bored. She didn't have anything to do. The monkey friend was sleeping because he was quite sick. The horse fell over the other day and his leg hurt, so he couldn't walk. Tommy and Annika were on holiday, and the parents had taken them to some hotel somewhere. The pikey policeman was quite quiet because there was nobody to chase, and her friend, Ladybug, was busy on the other side of the world catching some bad guys. Somebody called Pascal, I think. Pippi's father, Pippi's daddy, was on the ship in the sea, and of course she doesn't have a mummy, and in the little town where she lives the electric had gone off, so she couldn't even watch the telly, and she didn't have Wi-Fi, and so she sat on a sofa going, what can I do? I'm so bored. She looked around the house. She had lots of books, but she'd read them all, and she thought, I'm bored, what can I do? And the thing is, she couldn't complain to anybody, because who was she going to complain to? Nobody wanted to listen to her say that, and she didn't even like saying it to anybody else. She's like, I don't want to say I'm bored, even though I am bored. What should I do? Well, she couldn't think of anything, and she started to get a bit not angry and not really upset, but she got a bit, frustrated. That's right. She got frustrated, so that means it's like she wanted to do something but didn't know what to do, and there's nothing to do, and she was getting a bit... She didn't want to sit on the sofa, and she couldn't watch the telly. She didn't want to read a book. She couldn't play with her friends. So she decided to go for a walk, because sometimes when you get frustrated, you just have to get out of the place that you're in and go for a walk. That's right. So anyway, Pippi put on her stockings, one green and yellow one and one orange and yellow one, put on her shoes and didn't worry about her hair or anything like that. And she went outside for a walk, all by herself. The wind was blowing her hair, and it was a nice breeze as she walked down the road to the beach. And she thought, I will walk down the beach and just listen to the sea and see what happens. Listen to the sea and see what happens. See, she thought. That's funny, because the sea is a different word from see. Like, look at that. Did you see that sea? Did you see that sea? Oh my gosh, she thought. That's funny. Why is English so funny? And she thought to herself, well, that's funny. Maybe I should just go for a swim in the sea and see if anybody sees me in the sea. What? Do you see me in the sea? She thought. Well, nobody's going to see me in the sea because there's nobody to see me in the sea. You see? And then she kept saying that over and over, and she started laughing to herself. So she thought, oh, that's funny because I can make myself laugh, and I'm not bored anymore. But she was all wet. Her stockings wet. And anyway, she got out of the sea, and she kept walking down the beach, and the wind actually blew her clothes all dry, and she was singing to herself all the way along the sand. See me in the sea, walking by the sea, seaside, see me in the sea, on the sea, by the sea. Did you see? Nobody saw me in the sea. And she kept singing and singing, and she walked all the way around the beach. That's right. She didn't want to go for a swim anymore because she was bored of that. And she was bored of walking on the sand and getting sand in her toes and all that kind of stuff. And she thought, I am going to go over there and sit down and have a think. Just then, out the corner of her eye, she saw this big, black, grey thing, and she looked closer, and it was a whale. A whale was stranded on the beach, and it was saying, help me. And she looked closer, and she saw a snail going all the way to the schoolhouse. Anyway, she ran all the way down to help the whale. And the snail was in the school now, and she could see all the children being brought down to the beach by the snail. And she could see everybody coming in the boats, but what she did something very, very, very amazing. She just picked the whale up and threw it back in the sea. There was a huge splash, and everybody got wet. But the whale came up and went, thank you. And then the whale said, can you throw the snail? And the snail went, can you throw me onto the whale's tail? And so she did. She picked it up with her 2 fingers, between her finger and her thumb, and she just flicked the snail all the way over to the whale's tail. Bang! Ow, that hurt a bit, said the snail, because she flicked the snail's bum. And anyway, she said thank you, because there's no way I can get onto the whale's tail without being flicked. So anyway, the whale went back with the snail on the tail of the whale. And so Pippi Longstocking was like, the whale has a snail on its tail. Did you see in the sea the whale with the snail on its tail? And she started making these rhymes, and she's like, oh, I'm quite good at these rhyming things. It's really interesting. And so she watched the kids all go back into the school, and everybody went back to the jobs and stuff, and she's left alone again. So this is no fun if I have nobody to play with. So what she did was, she went up to the school and ran in, and it's not the school that Annika and Tommy go to, because they were on a holiday. This was a small school, like a seaside school, just for summertime. It was like a summer camp school. And so she went in there, and there was a class full of little boys and girls, all studying really hard, and a very, very mean teacher who was banging the desks and banging the whiteboard, going, study this, do that. You're silly. You can't do this. And she could see And she could feel that all the little boys and girls did not like this teacher, and they were not learning a single thing. And so she picked the teacher up and goes, "Hey teacher, what are you doing? You're not even a teacher, you're just a silly bugger." And she kicked the teacher's bum, and she lifted the teacher up by her ear and put her over her shoulder, walked out of the schoolhouse and threw her into the sea. And she said, "You just swim back. And by the time you swim back, I'm going to teach your students." And that's what she did. She stood at the front of the class. And even though she was only a few years older than these students, she taught them some things like see, and the difference, and whale, tail, snail. So the students all learned about rhyming words, and they all learned about words that sound the same but mean a different thing. So she'd actually been an English teacher, which is quite nice, and all the children loved Pippi Longstocking, the teacher. When she left, she felt really, really proud and very happy with herself that she had been able to help all these little kids enjoy learning through a funny class. And she thought, maybe, just maybe, I might want to be a teacher when I'm older. And she held that thought in her head as she walked all the way back down the beach and up the hill back to her house. And there was the horse asleep on the sofa with Monkey on top of the horse, snoring away. And she got some ramyun and cooked it for herself and thought, what a funny day I've had, throwing a whale with a tail, throwing a whale with a snail on its tail back into the water, throwing a teacher in the water, teaching the children about see me on the sea, did you see side in the sea, and the whale and the tail and the snail and did not fail, and then coming back thinking that I might just be a teacher when I'm older. Anyway, that's a good day for me. The end.